Hello, hello. Today we're going to talk about social media analytics reporting. Social media reports are really important, whether you're a freelancer or employee or even running your own pages, because it allows you to track performance on social in a detailed way. That way you can make informed decisions about the type of content you're putting together and your general strategy going forward. They're also important because they foster communication around goals and objectives between you and your clients or the people you report to at work, and they hold you and the folks involved in the social media workflow process accountable for doing what you need to make it all come together. Also, they highlight the progress being made on an account that is being managed by you, ultimately serving as a justification to keep you managing it. Whether you're a creative-driven social media manager or a data-driven one, running reports is actually pretty cool because you can see the impacts of your work compound over time. And honestly, it's really rewarding and motivating. And on the client end, the truth is that they're probably not looking at performance for what it truly is. They might be looking at things like likes and views, which aren't the full picture of how well a page is performing on social. And so again, it's a great opportunity to show the value you're bringing and remind your client and the people on your team that the work you're doing is actually moving the needle. You might hear and see some recommendations to run social media reports on a weekly basis, and that's fine, but I personally find it more useful to run reports once a month because sometimes content pieces tend to perform well out over the course of a week, and so you want to give the content you're posting as much time as possible to do its thing. That said, social media reports are typically ran the first week of each month to track progress from the month prior. So if you're running a report for March, that'll be done the first week of April. And then when you're running a report for April, that'll be done the first week of May. And when you're running a report for May, that'll be done the first week of June, and so on. Now, this is when social media reports are typically ran, but you obviously don't have to be married to the first week. Remember, it's supposed to calculate a month's worth of time. So that month can look like March 15th through April 15th. It's all up to you as long as you're tracking a month's worth of activity. I'm gonna walk you through my process for running a social media report using my Instagram as an example. And I'm also gonna provide you with a template down in the description so you can do the same. And quick disclaimer, I recently started a presence for myself on Instagram along with this channel, so the data is not all that impressive at the moment, okay? Up until just a few months ago, I've pretty much been the shoemaker that has no shoes. I'm too busy running my clients' accounts, so I don't really have time to run mine. But anyways, let's get started. Before you start running a social media report, you're gonna wanna revisit the goals of your strategy and the KPIs, aka the key performance indicators that you're using to track the progress of your goals. If you want some more insight on goal setting and creating an entire social media strategy, I have a video covering this subject, which I'll link to below in the description. Social media goals are usually based on three things: brand awareness, engagement, and conversions. So the KPIs for brand awareness are things like reach, impressions, and follower growth rate, which is the rate at which a following is growing within a certain time period. The KPIs for engagement are things like likes, saves, comments, and shares, and the KPIs for conversions are things like site links and link clicks. Now, really quickly, conversions on social media are solely based on site and link clicks, not the number of sales or subscriptions made. A lot of people get this confused, so I just want to unpack it really quickly. Conversion success on social media looks like getting content to take people from a platform to a landing page or website. And once someone goes from social over to a landing page or a website, it is the website's responsibility and the responsibility of the person who developed the site to get a sale or a sign up. It is not the responsibility of the social media person handling social content. Social media managers are responsible for content conversions. They are not responsible for website ones. back to the reporting part. Different people use different analytics platforms like Sprout Social, Later, Hootsuite, Buffer, Metricool, Planoly. There's a ton. And so because this obviously varies by platform, I'm going to just pull my stats from the analytics within the app that we're tracking. And by the way, I'm only going to be covering Instagram as the example for this report because I only have an Instagram account outside of this YouTube channel. But of course, if you're running reports for clients with more than one social media account, you're going to want to create separate sections for each platform. And these will be included in the template as well. I like to start my reports by immediately cutting to the chase and outlining total breakdown. So that's things like likes, views, comments, shares, saves, etc. You'll note that I only have reach included and not impressions, and some social media managers look at both, and some just look at one of these things. I personally like to just look at reach because reach deals with the total number of people who see your content, whereas impressions deals with the amount of times the content was displayed. And so with reach having more to do with like actual content interaction, it paints a more accurate picture of how genuinely far the content you're sharing is going out or reaching into the social verse. Though some platform analytics, like on LinkedIn, only show impressions, so you'll obviously use impressions in those instances. For engagement rate, this is something you can usually find through any reporting program you're using, so like a Later or a Buffer. It's even on the back end of native apps like Twitter, aka X. But there are instances where they're not showing up and you're going to have to calculate that yourself. So if you're wondering what the formula for engagement rate is, it is the total engagements divided by the number of followers you have at the moment times 100. I also have supporting graphs here, and I recommend using graphs to support your reporting because one, it just looks good presentation-wise, and two, I found throughout my experience presenting reports to decision makers like marketing managers, CMOs, and founders that these people tend to like to see data compiled over periods of time, and so graphs are a great way to showcase that. Another supporting piece of info you'll see that I have outlined here are percentage increases and decreases for the metrics that I'm not using graphs for. It's not a necessity, I'd say, but I'm really extra and I like to go above and beyond with these things, and clients and teams are always appreciative of it. So yeah, it's another great way to support your report delivery. One last thing before we move on to the next part of the report is comparing the data against industry benchmarks, aka showing how well the brand you're managing on social media is performing compared to other brands and businesses within the same industry. I like to do this using Rival IQ, which I'll link down to in the description below. It is a great resource because it has industry insights for social for a bunch of different industries. And what I like about it especially is that it even breaks down this information by content type and performance. Unfortunately, Instagram doesn't let me access my audience analytics just yet because I'm not yet at 100 followers, but audience demographics are something you also want to include in your reporting because the odds are more than likely that your client or the brand you're working for have a customer profile. And so it's important to know if the strategy and the content you're putting out there on social and bringing to life is actually targeting the right people. Going forward from total performance and audience breakdowns, I like to analyze top performing and low performing content to basically see what's working and what's not working. And when you're analyzing content, take a good look at things like the copy, the creative, the message, the tone, and the delivery, because these are things that impact how well or how not well a content piece will do. To close out the report for the given platform, because remember, you should definitely be analyzing performance by platform, be sure to include some key takeaways that should be kept in mind based on the information you gathered in the report, and essentially how you're going to take the information you gathered and apply it going forward. Also, this is going to be the space where you can explain areas where performance might be down, because listen, social media performance does fluctuate, and there are going to be times where performance isn't where you expect it to be, whether that be due to updates, algorithm changes, testing out new content types, etc. It's expected and it's normal. When it comes to sharing and communicating social media reports, it should definitely be done via a call or in person, basically through some form of real-time communication where feedback and explaining can be done in the immediate. And I say this because people have different interpretations of data, and the clients or the people that you're working for will more than likely have questions. So it's better to just go over these reports when you can answer in the immediate. Before I sign off, I want to end this video with a quick note to remember that analytics change month over month. Social media performance is like the stock market in that while it does trend upward, it does still fluctuate in the process. And some months will be better than others, and that's okay. It's expected as long as it's something that you can account for and change course on when you need to. Being able to pivot as a social media manager is key. That's all I have for this video. Don't forget to get your social media report template at the link in the description below, which you can customize to you or your client's liking. And as always, if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section below, or feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram at Crystal on social. Till next time.